Cool. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How you doing, guys? Early chatters are in. The gang's all here, etc. William Moy, how you doing? Nasma Nabs, Osama number 5. Kuro Hikes, Brian Melt, Juliet Nickel, Rich Diana. What's up, what's up? Had Walmer. And to my Rockfin peeps, we are live on Rockfin. Come on over to Rockfin, ROKFIN.com, and say hi on Rockfin. I will come and chat with y'all in a second. Kevin Shanholzer, you got an ad for Instagram? Lucky you. Oh, I saw a really interesting ad. So it's funny because I was watching, so I had put up this video and the title, and I was watching another video, and the ad before the other video I was watching was an ad for net zero, or about how are we going to reach net zero, and it was sponsored by Shell Oil. So, of course, they're getting in on the game of the buzzwords. The green, going green. We're gonna reach net zero, guys. We're gonna help sponsor this Green New Deal, guys. The dude says, I get a clean, renewable natural gas, the bridge to a green energy future ad on almost every vid I watched lately. Yeah. So yeah, guys, we're gonna reach net zero with renewable natural gas, a bridge fuel. That's what we're going to do. What's up, Rockfin people? Osama number 5 is on Rockfin. Urban Hermit is on Rockfin. Let's get some more folks on Rockfin. And I can read some of y'all's comments on Rockfin. But good to see y'all. 45 watching, 26 likes on the YouTubes. Please like the video. Please subscribe if you are not subscribed. So yeah, let's get into this. If only we can get into this. If only we can. Where are you? Okay. So I think this should help this show up. Greta Thunberg. Supposedly to some people in the employ of the conspiracy, the global conspiracy to get people to do things they don't want to do, or to get people on board this renewable train to the future. Some people think, I still think, I don't know, I think it's a little bit less lately. I've seen less of the that kind of language towards Greta Thunberg, because the way that Greta talks about what needs to be done in the face of climate change does not line up with a Green New Deal or a Green New Reset or a Great Reset or Agenda 2030. She's not saying that at all. She's actually saying all of that is a bunch of bullshit. That's really what she's saying. So, if somebody's controlling her, if it's a giant conspiracy, I don't really see it, because she doesn't seem to be using the language of the conspiracy, or of the conspirators, if you will. So you got to kind of pay attention to stuff like that, right? When you're throwing out conspiracies, or when you're debunking conspiracies, whatever you're trying to do, whatever your goal is, you actually kind of have to pay attention to the language that people are using. And you have to pay attention to you have to kind of drill down a little bit into the things that people are saying. What's up, Trish Kaiser? Thank you for the super chat. Very, very kind of you, Trish Kaiser. Thank you. Anyway, she tweets out this: today I was guest editor in chief for Sweden's largest newspaper, Dagens Nyheter. I hope I probably messed that up. Here's a 30-second summary. The emperors are naked, every single one. I believe she's trying to call out the leaders of the world, the leaders of the corporations, and the leaders of the people who, all the people who are saying, we're doing something. We're really doing it. We're making these pledges and we're going to reach these goals. We're really doing it. Even so, okay, so this has been playing over and over again, this GIF or film or whatever you want to call it. We'll call it a little video. This is how fast global CO2 emissions need to reach 0. So this is, I don't know who made this graph, but I would say that this is probably closer to reality than a lot of the other graphs or predictions. So basically what they're saying, if we stay on track, if we keep our CO2 emissions where they're at, and we don't do anything about them, we're going to have to drop straight down to 0 by 2027. And that's real. And that's considering that we even have a chance of reversing the feedbacks that we've already put into motion, right? So several countries have set targets, and look at their target. Their targets are 2050, 2045, and 2050 and 2060. That's pretty much on par. Now, I believe that Boris Johnson set out something a little more ambitious, I guess. I think he said 2035. But I don't know if that's every sector of the economy. Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand, they set out a goal of 2025, which is pretty admirable. However, that's just the public sector and not the private sector. And they also have something of a goal of 2050. So if we do a linear walk down, if we do a degrowth, and it's the only way we're actually going to be able to do this is degrowth, that we're not going to be able to do this. All of this is going to be an accounting trick, right? The net zero thing is not really zero emissions. It's net zero. So emissions being offset by, what carbon trading schemes or carbon capture maybe, or, other ways that they're going to be able to do their little accounting trick of, net zero. Not, possibly allowing governments and countries and corporations to still emit a lot of CO2. So if we take a linear path, if we don't drop down straight down by 2027, and we take a linear path, we are going to end up at 2036. Being the date at which we would have to go net zero. So, take this for what it's worth. Take this at face value. Do you think this is actually going to be possible? We're talking about a global effort to do some type of net zero thing. Anyways, that's where we're at. I don't see this happen. I don't see this line happening in the next 5 years. I don't see it. Do y'all see it? Anybody else? Anybody? What say you? Rockfinners. Osama says fuzzy math. Indeed. Very fuzzy math. J Thadcast, net zero is an accounting double fake, right? Yeah, there's going to be some magical accounting going on in the next few years around. We're on target to meet net zero by 2035 or 2040 or 2050. Billy Joe Schmo Frankincense, I like the name, says okay. What's up, Billy Joe Schmo Frankincense? Osama, then a miracle occurs. You're right. I'm going to tell you, we're going into another lockdown scenario. At least in California, we are. Not globally, but at least for most of the U.S., another lockdown scenario is kind of happening, in the works. It's happening. Right now, that's our best bet for lowering emissions is another lockdown. Unfortunately, I'm not saying that I really am happy about that or I think that that's the best case scenario. I mean, to further clarify, I think we're going to have to end human activity on a major level. Not humans, human activity. I'm not including that, that whole conversation right now, but we're going to have to end human activity on a lot of levels. We're going to have to degrow or, walk down the consumer ladder pretty significantly in order to do a net zero type thing. And, right now, just as a side effect of lockdowns, that is going to curb human activity, therefore reducing many emissions, right? That's what's going to happen. It would be really a way better way to do it would be for the entire planet and all the news companies of the world to start speaking truthfully about how quickly and what the reality is of what we're going to do or what we're going to have to do. Somebody commented on Rockfin the other day on a video I had on Rockfin about, they were like, this guy is sketchy because he's proposing a, authoritarian, totalitarian control of the environment or something. I don't know, whatever. It was a comment. It's not necessarily what I'm proposing. I'm actually just proposing people be told the truth and be able to act accordingly. Honestly, and which is kind of what I would like around coronavirus too, is that people be told the truth and that people be encouraged to act accordingly. Like, be safe, don't get people sick, don't get yourself sick, sure. However, do we need to destroy people's lives and their livelihood and their ability to have connection with other people or have connection, with cherished things in their lives? Do we need to do all that? I'm not convinced that is always helpful or beneficial, the lockdown thing. But, encouraging people to be safe and take precautions, I think is completely warranted, right? Completely reasonable, especially because we're not, and I'm going to get into this in another video, especially because we're not really helping people out when we tell them we're going to lock you down and we're going to shut down your businesses and we're going to make you stay inside your house and all manner of, awesome things. We're not going to do that without giving you some help. And I think that should happen in the face of climate change too, right? Sure. If you're gonna tell people the truth about climate change and say like this is what you need to do, you're gonna have to help people through that situation. So yeah. Let's see. I'm going down the chats to say hello to a few people. I am Sweetleaf. What's up? How you doing? Oh, I sent you an email. I am Sweetleaf. I hope you got it. Please check your email because I'm trying to correspond with you about something. I'm a little confused, but I also haven't really. Today I will check into some other things about that. Interglacial optimist. So after 60 years of living in the lap of luxury, it's time to close Disneyland. But Grandpa, you promised. Yeah, kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. But you know what? There's really cool things to do that aren't Disneyland. Super cool things to do, like go hiking, like go bike riding with your kids, take them to the beach, go camping, teach them survival skills, martial arts. There are lots of really fun, teach them to play an instrument. There are super fun things you can do with your kids that are not Disneyland or Legoland. The kids love to do. Disneyland is just a construct, bro. If there was no Disneyland, nobody would miss Disneyland. Nobody would know what they were missing. Oh, I wish there was a place, a fake place full of fake things where we could go and buy really overpriced food and go on, rides through this fake environment. People would totally miss that. Hunter Z says, take the tour past the homeless around Disneyland, right? Ross Cobbin, I kind of agree with you there. I mean, it can be fun, and it was fun when I was a kid, but actually, something about Disney World and Disneyland actually offends me on a consumer glutton level, and so that doesn't offend me at all. Anyways, let's move it along. Osama says he only sees this one like. Like up the video on Rockfin, guys. Sweetleaf says, truth would get us somewhere, maybe. J Thadcast says, best case, less consumption. And Billy Joe Schmo Frankincense says, net zero when we are gone. Probably. Here's an interesting story, and maybe, here maybe a little bit of a positive, happy future kind of story. But there are holes in this, so I'm just going to go through it. This is Dutch city redraws its layout to prepare for global heating effects. So they're actually they realize that global heating is here. The effects are here. You're not going to escape them. They're not going to go away. So they're going to adapt. Smart. How well they are really going to be able to adapt is another question, but intelligent at least, reasonable on many levels. Measures include replacing 10% of Arnhem's asphalt with grass to better cope with heat. The Dutch city of Arnhem is digging up asphalt roads and creating shady areas around busy shopping districts after concluding that the consequences of global heating are unavoidable. Well, look at those intelligent people of Arnhem. understanding climate change. Way to go. Under a 10-year plan for the city unveiled on Wednesday, a new layout is proposed to better prepare residents for extreme weather conditions such as downpours, droughts, and intense heat waves. Interesting, the council has decided that 10% of the asphalt must make way for grasses and other plants to better dissipate heat and improve the city's absorption of rainfall. A goal has been set for 90% of rainwater to be absorbed into the soil rather than running off into the city's sewers. What? That is so logical. I can't even really understand it. Trees will be planted alongside a network of roads to provide cover from the sun, and new cooling down spots, complete with ponds and covered areas, will be constructed near busy squares and shopping centers. Obviously, the Netherlands they're farther away from the equator, so this is probably a good look for them right now. It might give them a few more years before intense climate change effects happen. Much of the Netherlands sits below sea level, and all the county's urban centers have been asked to do climate stress tests to see how they might adapt to more erratic rainfall patterns, heat waves, and periods of high and low river flows. Well, you don't say. I mean, this is just using your brain 101. They know it's happening. They see where it's going, and they're like, okay, what are we going to do around this? Are they? Clearly, there are other things that must be done. But Alderman Kathleen Beauchamp said the city was leading the way, but that the council would also provide grants to residents who proposed ways they might collect rainwater or who installed green roofs. In its drive to remove 10% of the city's asphalt, underused roads will be targeted, and the municipality is investigating whether recycling or reselling the material will be possible. Beauchamp said the city would continue to reduce its carbon emissions as part of the plan. The energy transition is there to ensure that the city remains livable in the future, she said. We must also adapt, to the climate change that is taking place now. Flooding, heat, and drought are increasing. So imagine that. Imagine American cities, and there are probably quite a few who understand that climate change is taking place now and might be putting things into place to adapt to it. But on the whole, America is far behind Europe, of course. Flooding, heat, and drought are increasing. The Dutch government has pledged to reduce the Netherlands' greenhouse gas emissions by 49% by 2030. This is where the kind of failing in action part happens, because they're going to reduce emissions by 2030 by 50%. Okay, that's fine. Compared with 1990 levels, and to secure a 95% reduction by 2050. All right, so a little bit slow on the emissions drawdown, but I believe I was just watching a video around greenhouses in the Netherlands, new ways of growing food, which is very interesting. I don't have that queued up right now, but I may show you a little bit about that in the future. But interesting, most likely the future of farming is going to be indoors. So that's just logic. Again, that's just reality. Like it's going to be harder and harder to grow food out of doors. So, but, the best thing to do would probably be to start doing something different right now if you plan on sticking around for much longer. And that goes, on a personal level and maybe on a regional level. If you're planning on sticking around much longer, start maybe growing your own food, start rehabilitating places to grow food and wherever it is that you live, and also think about, whether or not you're going to have to start growing food indoors in greenhouses or whatever, etc. Again, climate change being the complicated issue that it is, there are many, many factors involved, and you have to take into account all of those factors. Rich Diana said, I remember when Earth Day got major publicity back when, but the American dream continued on. Yep. Rich Dwarski says, we will have to grow up before we can deal with such adult problems. Yep. Ross Cobbin, take those empty office towers and turn them into vertical farms. Yeah, those office towers that are covered in glass windows. Good thinking there. Smart. What's up, Raza Eco Warrior? Good to see you. Thanks for being here in the chats. I am Sweet Leaf. Plant, plant, plant. Feed the dirt. Let nature show us how it is done. All right, guys. I have reached the end of my time. Thank you for joining me on the Rockfin and on YouTube. I appreciate your presence in these chats every day. And I'm probably going to come back with a little bit of a political something. In a few whiles, if I can say that. Anyways, until next time, peace.